Well, hello to our new listeners. Thanks for joining. And to our returning guests, welcome back. Welcome to season 6 of the More Sibyl podcast. My name is Mo. In this season, like you've been used to, get ready for more amazing stories, more inspirational stories to help you set your stories free. I created this podcast as a resource for Blacks, Asians, and those who love them, to share stories and processes, as well as to build community around important salient issues that affect all of us as humans. So on this show, you get to hear amazing stories from people like you who show us how to get more out of life. The stories featured here are by people whose journey I am partly inspired by, as well as challenged by, but most importantly, people whose courage and vulnerability have afforded us an opportunity to hear their life stories, and I hope you find them as inspiring. Now enjoy the show, and don't forget to share this episode and the other ones. All right, welcome everyone back to the show. This is Mo, and I am just excited to have this person on the podcast. I have been hunting them down for a year. Oh my goodness, guys.
Stop it.
She is so extra. It took like 5 months for her to fill the guest form. And then even trying to find the time, she's like, too busy. But you know one thing, I'll give it to her. She was like, why not just do it when next we're meeting Utah? I'm like, okay, yeah, let's just do it. So this has been a story I've been trying to chase down for a year. I don't know. I don't have patience over things I do for you guys on this podcast. But today, but it's going to be watch your time is what I'm trying to say. I have a math nerd. She really loves mathematics. I've yet to meet somebody that loves like numbers. Even while on vacation, she's trying to solve code and do calculus. I'm like, geez, what's she doing? She's a mom to two boys. One of them is autistic, and she considers them the joy of her life. She also loves life, she loves God, and all things that are possible. Today, please join me in welcoming Nydia Nelson to the podcast.
Hola, everybody.
All the way from Tampa. Look how you're looking all quiet.
Oh, no, not really Tampa. Guamama.
Yeah, but that's where you live currently, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
So tell us.
Lovely state of Florida.
I just realized recently that your dad was from Jamaica, your mom was Native American, like your heritage.
Yep.
I did not know that about you. I mean, you look ambiguous in a way, but you look like, I know you're Black. You know, your eye colors are kind of different.
Very different.
Yeah, like
I was born with gray eyes.
There you go.
They turn and they change from hazel to brown. No, my mood.
Your mood. Oh my goodness.
My mood. And the baby boy he was born with blue eyes.
Wow.
But now they're brown.
Ari had green eyes growing up, and then now they're like turning.
See, Ari got that interracial of the Caucasian
of the Caucasus Island. Yeah.
See, I got the other side.
The other side. So tell us about just, where you grew up and all that kind of stuff.
Grew up in Tampa, Florida. Mostly went back home to Wakulla, Crawfordville, Florida, if people are not familiar, from the country. What else?
How many siblings? You have a twin. You're a twin.
I'm a twin.
Do you keep forgetting?
I'm a twin.
You and Taiwo are kind of weird in that way.
We're not weird.
You're just, I don't know. Like,
you're just a hater.
No, hold on. The first time I met him, because, again, let me give you context. His name, Taiwo, means a twin name. Like, if you meet someone called Taiwo, they are a pair of a twin, right? One of a pair of a twin. And I love twins. I just like the idea that you have somebody that is conscripted for life to be your friend and talk to you.
Not really.
And then the first time I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh, it was all like, ooh, like, you're a twin. But he's just like regular people.
Yeah.
Do you know how it crushed my fantasy that you hold your hands and then do stuff together and then, the whole mind syncing thing?
No.
And then on your birthday was like some days ago, right? And
May 26th.
When you did a Facebook post and tagged your twin, I'm like, what, is she kidding? She's a twin? You don't give off like twin vibes. Why is that? I know you're actually weird, but then...
Is there a vibe for twins?
There's a vibe for twin because you're like, I got my own person.
We are two different zygotes.
You're not too different. We don't look at you guys differently. We are.
We were born in two different zygotes.
Because you're fraternal. I mean, you have to be fraternal because he's a boy. So how many siblings do you have to choose?
Well, my mom only had us two. Thank the Lord, because I am the only girl from my mom.
Imagine if you had to have somebody after you. She probably wouldn't.
No.
Because my goodness, I imagine how much of a handful you were as a child.
Oh, I was. I know I was.
Yeah,
I know
we can tell. You
Get
still give that up. You might not give up twin vibes, but you give up your...
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about growing up. So your mom had you guys, and then just tell us a little about your childhood. Like, what was the memories that come to fore?
Well, my stepdad had 11.
11 kids?
11 or 12 kids.
From the same person?
Two, 3 different women.
Whoa.
But one had at least 9
Whoa.
of them. So I have 1, 2, 3 sisters, and the rest are
boys.
4 sisters, and the rest are boys.
Were you all close?
When they lived with us for a few, but now that we're older, we all went our separate ways. So
are your parents still together?
And my dad died.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's
true.
2
years now.
Were they still together before he passed away?
Mm-hmm.
Or
40? How old am I?
Wow.
41 years.
Wow, that's a lifetime right there.
Yeah, since I was 40 myself.
Wow. Man, and did you take your father's last name or your stepfather's last name?
I had my real dad's last name, and the story behind that, I used to have my mom's last name, Nydia Williams.
It's the same thing, William Nelson.
And not really, because in 6th grade, I got tired of being in the back Williams.
W.
And I wanted to be a Nelson because the grapes were there, and the grapes were always gone by the time I got to the line.
Oh, God.
So they were like, well, which name do you want? Nelson.
You chose that name yourself?
Just to get grapes.
You chose that name yourself?
Yep.
My mom will have whooped my ass. My mom doesn't do it with my dad will have whooped. Do you know how hard, who gave you the permission to change your name?
They did, because they were like,
who did? Who did? Your dad?
The teacher. But apparently it was on the school system thing, because they just don't tell you.
Without telling your parents about it?
She had it written down.
African parents never.
She had it written down.
You cannot try it. So that's the difference between us. Because, girl, no.
Look.
You can't even pierce your ears without getting
I need a grape.
So was it worth it though? You're like Esau from the Bible who told us that's right.
You've met me. You know I like to eat.
I know.
What part of this? Nelson.
Wait, why didn't you just go for A? Adam.
Oh, no, because my dad's last name is Nelson.
Okay. So it was your dad's. Okay. That makes sense. I thought you just came up with a name called Nelson. Oh, okay. That makes sense.
His last name.
How did your mom feel about it?
Oh, she didn't care because apparently I guess she had it all along, but they never changed it.
Oh, I see. But it was right there.
So.
Okay. So it seems like, how about your twin? So let me give you an example. See, I'm fascinated with twins, so bear with me for a moment.
I mean, my brother.
You know how, so in Nigeria growing up, oftentimes they'll dress them in a similar way. And then there's a special beans they'll cook for them. They have words they'll say, oriki, they call them oriki. What was it like growing up as a twin? Did your parents try to dress you up together? Were you guys really close?
Well, my mom had to separate us because if anybody talked to my brother, I used to beat him up.
Girl, you've been a gangster from day one.
She had to separate us, so she's like, no, they can't be in the same classroom. Because I wouldn't let people talk to my brother.
So he's a little bit calmer than you?
Yeah. Not now that he's older.
Yeah.
I'm the more calm one.
Yeah, no, you have a bit of calmness to you. I know.
It's weird.
I know.
But yeah.
But with your people, you kind of let down. I know that. So, oh my goodness. I can't even imagine you growing up. So let's talk about school, right? So you went through school, and I know something happened to you in high school.
Oh, I got pregnant.
Girl, tell us about that.
My goal was to go into the military.
Okay.
I was like, I did not want to live in the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Tired of living here. Mom, I love you, but need to go.
Yeah.
God had other plans, so ended up pregnant, and I was like, okay, so I already grew up poor. I didn't want to be on the system. I didn't want to collect anything. I'm going to school.
And that was it. So, I mean, we'll kind of sped through that. Let's break it down a little bit. How did your mom take it whenever she found out you were pregnant?
Like our parents, disappointed. It is what it is. I got pregnant before high school, before we ended. Jamel was born August 31st, so a couple of months.
Yeah.
I admit it.
And how old were you, 16?
17.
17. Wow. How did you do it? And you went back to school, you finished, I know how it ended, but...
Oh, it's sad. not really going back to school. I mean, I graduated.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, you never took a break? Just
never took a break.
Wow.
Graduated. I took a break because I had it.
I
go for the fall.
Yeah.
But I already had college credits from high school.
Overachiever, yeah.
So I went to community college, finished that in 1 year, and then went to my private institution. So, University of Tampa.
How was he, like, the father of the child? Was he very involved? Was he helpful?
He went to the military. So he
took your dream.
And I took his. Like, he wanted to go to FSU.
Florida State University.
So we kind of like swapped lives, which is weird. So he went to the military, the Air Force, did 19 years, and I'm the one that stayed back and went to school. Yeah. You know, we're young, so we had our communication issues. Now that we're older,
and this was before internet and all that, right? Yeah.
Now that we're older and our kid is older, we talk.
Yeah.
Like we still talk.
Does he have kids now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We actually have. His daughter and my son are literally a month apart.
Wait, the second one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our second kid.
Okay.
So my son has a sister. I think she's born in October, and Jason was born in December. So they're like 2-3 months apart.
Almost 2-3 months apart. So, I mean, we know that getting pregnant in high school is not the ideal thing. We're not trying to endorse that, right? But let's talk about some support you had, because I want to think that you probably wouldn't have gotten to half of the things you did without some form of support.
Oh, my mom was my support. That was it.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, my mom, it's not a little bit. My mama gave me an ultimatum. her ultimatum was, I'm only watching him for you to go to school and work. That's it. It was an ultimatum.
So either you go to school or you go find something else?
Go to school or work. That's the only time she watched my son. Any other time?
No. So you couldn't I can imagine that. I mean, having a child is a blessing, yeah, but there's what you call opportunity cost. You have to give up on something. So all of like the late nights with your friends, do you miss all of that?
I don't know what it's like to be a normal teenager going, from between the 18 to the 21, that age. Yeah. Because I grew up to be an adult quick. I mean, I had to get bigger up.
Yeah.
So that was saying, she did keep him, by the way. So I did party, trust me. I did. Every Thursday I was always in the club.
Shaking it.
I did a lot with raising my son, going to school, still teaching, that he didn't know. So I still did stuff that normal, typical adult did. I was always in the club.
Yeah.
Stayed in the club, actually. But he never knew. He just knew my mama was boring.
Yeah.
She just go to work.
Oh, but he didn't see that part. Of course, you won't take him to the club and all that.
No.
Yeah.
And that's not for him to know. I mean, that's just my belief as a parent.
Yeah.
Kids don't need to know what you do.
Okay. So we can have two truths. Like, having your child, I imagine, like, you can't even imagine your life without him, because, he's such an integral part of your life.
He's the reason why I am educated.
Okay. We love when we see that, especially in our community. But if you could do anything differently from then, what would you do differently?
Honestly, the way God has passed my life, there's nothing I would do differently. Because it made me who I am today. So there's nothing I would change.
I'll respect that. So you went through school, and then tell us about your university pathway and then beyond.
So after I finished University of Tampa, I had my bachelor's in mathematics, and it was kind of like, well, what's you? My goal was to be an FBI agent, forensic psychologist.
I feel like I don't know you. There's also the lawyer part of you.
I was a double.
There's the minister part of you.
Well, my AA actually is in criminology. I'm one
of course.
But I was double major math and chemistry. So FBI dream gone. And I said, well, what can I do? So being a mom so young and had a kid in elementary school, I went into education field. So I taught middle school and taught college as an adjunct at a part-time. I love middle school. My babies.
Actually, no, you're right. 7th and 8th grade?
No. 5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 7, 8, yeah. I've taught 7th, 8th grade math. They weren't bad. They actually talk to you like colleagues.
Yeah. They're my babies. They will, if you think you are a strong, good math teacher, you are not. If you have never taught middle school,
you haven't done,
because middle school will make you break it down.
Yeah. And they're so quick on their feet. Like, they know so much about the world, the music, and the way to talk, the slang.
Oh, they taught me the slang when it was starting coming out. I used to get my phone like, what is he saying? They're like, oh, Miss Nelson, you really don't know Ebonics?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But, became an adjunct professor. Stayed, teaching back and forth. 1 year, I just said, you know what? I quit my job at Academy Press after 6 years. And I said, Lord, whatever you want me to be, I'm going to be a professor in 1 year. If I'm not going to be a professor, I'm going to the military. I was done. In 1 year, it's my 11th year live. I'm going on my 12th year as a professor. So I've raised my ranks to associate professor.
So you got a PhD as well?
I actually don't. I'm EDD.
What does that mean?
All but dissertation.
ABD.
ABD. All but dissertation.
Yeah.
So I stopped my dissertation, and a lot of people may not agree, but I had to feed the kids or finish my school.
Oh yeah, for the kids.
My degree was sacrificed with the choice of my career right now. Mm-hmm. So I've been on my career path ever since then, from professor to instructor in charge.
Yeah.
And now I'm in the running
for like a new
assistant
position.
For this position. So we'll see.
I mean, oh my. So let's talk about mathematics. Okay. Number one, you don't find a lot of women in that field.
Nope.
And number two, we don't find a lot of women of color in that field. I imagine people see the world differently. Like, math is everywhere. I believe that strongly. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a foundation of a good experience in school, you have to know math. Like, it's a basic foundation. Now, you don't have to love it like some of you do. But why mathematics then? What's the fascination with you when it comes to math?
When I was in junior college at HCC, Hillsborough Community College, I had a professor, Dr. McBoy, may he rest in peace.
Rest in peace, sir.
And he taught math off the top of his head, like no textbook, no nothing.
Wow.
And Calc 1, I took him, and I just said one day, I want to be like him. And then, I had Dr. Soa, she just retired. I was like, I want to be like them. I was like, that's what I want to do. And because math came so easy, like I never really picked up a textbook.
Blood to show off.
And math, like, I didn't start picking up textbooks to read until I got organic. Like, believe it or not, my whole math degree, pure mathematics, and let me say it's a bachelor's in science, which we know is very different from a BA.
Yeah.
Never used calculator.
I think it's the point where we stopped the interview.
I only used calculator when I took my organic chemistry courses and stuff like that. But other than that, for my math degree, I used to look at them. They're like, you don't need a calculator? For what? But that was from Dr. McBoy.
Did he touch you?
Was
it black?
He was white. He was a white old man, and he was actually homeless. Mm-hmm.
Kind of like
he was homeless.
Johnny Nash, The Beautiful Mind?
Yeah.
Math drove him mad.
Yep.
I always had a theory about that.
Yep.
Math would drive you mad because you see it everywhere.
No, it was his wife that was driving him mad.
Oh, so was the wife being called math?
So yeah, it was.
Get out of here.
It was, and he used to live like inside of his
van.
No, inside his office.
Oh, poor guy.
But the man was just so freaking brilliant. And when I tried to take him all the way up, with him, he was like, if I see a calculator on your paper, I'm going to take your test. Oh, okay, well, you got to work. I will learn this without it. Okay. But then that next semester, he actually passed away. So, yeah.
I imagine that's had a huge influence on you. But you know how to say that sometimes our childhood memories are they shape who we become. Were there any instances from your childhood that influenced your passion for math and education?
None at all. I actually wanted to be a poet, English.
Poet, forensic officer, army, lawyer, girl.
Like, I took criminology classes because I actually wanted to be a lawyer because I was very argumentative, as you can tell.
You still are.
I
was.
But I will say, Lord willing, the position is in my path. I'm actually going back. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to figure out which track.
What path to go for? Mm-hmm.
Which, if I want to go and get my JD license, and that's because I'm going to do parent advocacy, especially for our community, or if I just want to go back and finish my EDD. Well, not finish. I'm sorry. I got to start it all over again.
I see. I think before I move on to the next block of questions, I'd like to just sit in a moment here and just, you beat a lot of odds, Nadia, right? I mean, getting pregnant in high school, that's enough to even like maybe slow down and catch up later. But you didn't rest on those hours. You went further and you're in a position now where you're able to, live out your passion and all that. For those who might be listening to this, who might either be in this situation right now or might have children or words who have found themselves in this situation where they're thinking of quitting school or it's so hard to like combine those kind of things. I know you did have support with your mom, which you acknowledge, so shout out to your mom. What are some other intrusive factors? Because there's only so much support can go a long way. If you don't apply it, if you don't have that drive, you just what are some things you can just throw out there for people who might be going through that? I'm just gonna make it all nice.
In the words of one of my students who did not know my story, because I don't really tell my story, so congratulate Mo for telling portions of my story, because I really don't tell my story. She was an African American and she was lesbian. And, I always helping her out because sometimes I do help my students out. I do give them money and stuff. I don't need to tell everybody what I do, but I have given my students money for them to eat, for them to take the bus, for them to stay, various things I've done with my students. And she was like, well, Miss Nelson, you don't know my story. And I said, you don't know mine either.
Weird.
And just because you don't know mine doesn't make my path seem different than yours or your
easier,
path seem harder than mine, because God gives us our own path. The problem is when it comes to our path and when we come to a little grass, I'll put it, do you stop? Or are you going to keep going? When that grass starts to turn brown, are you still going to keep going? When you got little dirt and trees and wolves and everything else coming at you, are you still going to keep going? Because the more you stop, the more you make it harder for you to obtain that next level
momentum
that God has for you. So the word of advice I can tell you, excuses is like diarrhea.
Once it comes out, you can't stop it. Avoid the tacos. All the food from here.
I mean, how much excuses do you have? Are you going to keep using your excuses? And I don't want to sound like my nose is in the air and pompous, but there's only so many excuses that you can use for you to get to that next level.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I don't know how Mo is with her graduate students, but when I became a chair, the first thing was like, oh, Nadia, you might want to get some tissue paper. Tissue paper for who? You need to go find mom. I had no tissue paper in my office. I have had my students come in, and I can tell you, a lifetime of friendship is everlasting. That I'm still friends with some of my middle school babies, but I've had them come in and cry and scream and curse because I can't get this mad. I let them get it out, and I tell them, okay, you done. Let's do this.
While we're here.
Come on, let's get this math done. You done had the breakthrough. Let's get through it.
Yeah.
Just last semester, I had a student sit there and eat milk. A grown woman, y'all, in her 60s. And I'm sorry, again, I said I'm poor. I grew up in the hood of Tampa, Florida. And there are certain things that you do not email me that causes a trigger. And she said, well, Miss Nelson, you act like you don't like me, so what's up? What's up? What's up is I'm to find you in these streets.
Catch you outside.
So I had to bring it back a little bit.
Yeah.
And, praise God, all the darts that I took from the students, from 16 weeks of darts that you're messing with my, I was not doing anything, anybody, I was available for her, was tutoring her. She passed my class and she graduated.
Bye-bye.
And she said, I'm taking you for statistics. Oh, no, ma'am.
Class is full. I only have 3 students, but it's full. That was thanks for explaining on that. Now let's talk about your other son. You have like a 16-year gap?
17 and a half.
Girl. Tell us. What took you so long, Jenny?
I know what took me so long. God said, it's your time.
How different was it? Because I imagine you were, you had a little bit more income.
What income was different. Experience. I will say the support from my partner. He's the best thing that ever happened. Yes, I will give Jason all the shot. He has been very supportive from day one. Considering the fact that we met and 3 months later I ended up pregnant, but
how did you end up pregnant? Just fell on it?
It just fell on it.
You fell pregnant.
And it's not like I didn't try throughout the years. It wasn't happening. I've had polycystic ovary syndrome. I still have PCOS now, and I think my PCOS is worse now after JCR.
Because I think sometimes pregnancy might also exacerbate some of the symptoms.
Pregnancy done made me. I can't even lose. I'm still in pregnancy weight 8 years later.
Oh, geez.
I was a 6 before JCR. Now I'm just looking at a 12. 10, 12. Can't get rid of it. But my body is different after him. Everything's, I don't know, I think Jamel just kicked the life out of me, and Jason just said, we just go sleep. My whole pregnancy, I slept my whole pregnancy.
Yeah.
But with Jason as my support system, my mom, she's like, you got this. She ain't watching
again.
She helped.
She did.
No, she did not.
She was like, you got this. You're old enough.
Y'all two have this. That's me and Jason. So, I would say this is kind of the first time me actually raising. I mean, I was in the house.
I know, but it's different. It's different being 17 and 18 and then to now being, having a baby when it's like 17 and a half years later. Yeah. Like your first son could actually give birth to,
They look alike.
Yeah.
Sad part about it. They're twins. They're identical at the same age.
So let's talk about some of the, especially like there's something special about JCN. Like when did the diagnosis happen? And I've spoken to parents about, whenever their child was diagnosed with on the spectrum, right? And they tell me the unique things are how they came about it. Some said I knew from the start, but I just didn't know what it was. How was your journey like?
With JCN, speech wasn't there, and it was like, he's go get it. We're there. But it came to JCN was behavior. And
like, do you want to give some examples? Without
the best example I can tell you is that at 3 years old, I was about to kick this little boy out of my house.
Let's keep it there because I don't want to say things that will embarrass our kids on the podcast.
I'm not. I've been hit in the back. I have been. I couldn't take him out because of his sensory was just that
overload, everything. Yeah.
Even like going into the grocery store was like, all right, ready, set, go. Like, you better go in, get what you need. And it was like a race.
Marathon,
and get out.
Map everything in your head.
And then, when it came to more so as an educator, I was like, I can't teach my kid. I'm like, what? Why can't I teach my kid? I was like, I know I'm not dumb. I got an education.
Because you already had one. You had one experience.
Like, I should be able to teach my kids. So, at that time, I switched, actually, my whole doctor chain, his pediatrician, because they weren't listening. They were like, oh, give it time. No.
This is different.
Mentally, in my mind, I don't have time. I don't.
Because as a black child, naturally, they might even regress in school. How much more someone that is on special needs?
And then I was so snapped. I love my kid to death, but you guys, there's only so much you can take.
That's okay. We're human.
With an autistic kid. So if a parent is telling you they need a break and their child's on the spectrum, we need a break. Like, we really do need a break. So when I switched him, I told them, they listened. And, I found an ABA therapist because somebody said you apply behavioral.
Yeah, apply behavioral.
So I had ABA and I called them. I said, okay, well, how much is it? The lady said, well, just for our evaluation is $200. I said, okay, Ian. Excuse me. She was like, well, just to see us, we range between $50 and $90 an hour. You guys, ABA is the most expensive therapy ever. Last year they paid $90,000.
What? $90,000?
$90,000. I didn't have to come out my pocket, thank the Lord, but $90,000. But
my goodness.
$50 to $70. So I was like, okay. So I went to go and see the developmental doctor because most people do developmental.
Because you need those referrals.
Psychology or neurology. And the difference between it is the medication. Neurological likes to give medication, and neurological will tell you a little more. I just left it as we're autistic.
Yeah.
But I had, at 3, had him diagnosed. He took the test there, ABA, and here we are today.
And he's like 7 now, right?
He's 7.
Wow.
Completely different kid.
Is he on meds as well? Is he on meds?
I refuse.
Tell me about that. I do respect your choices, and even as a pharmacist, coming saying that I respect your choices because I feel like as a mom, you know best, and you probably weigh the pros and cons.
So let's talk about these pros and cons.
So no, I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to say that what I'm curious to know really is, for some of these parents now, they might have different reasons for doing one therapy over the other. For you, what was your reason? And clearly, it's working.
Developmental wise, I don't care. No offense.
That's okay.
What a pharmacist says, what a neurologist says. Yes, you may give my kid medication and have it between 8 and 5. He functions a certain way, but neurologically, when it comes to development of that brain, it is not there yet to handle that medication. And the medication you've given him is just putting a Band-Aid, because when that child is off that medication, those behaviors that you were trying to suppress are out, and they're 10 times more.
I see.
And recently I spoke to his developmental doctor, and his son, is on medication. But he did mess up and say, well, when he's off medication, he's doing it. Well, you just put my point. Neurologically, that's that chemistry part of me. When it comes to the brain cells and the neurons, they're not capable and able to handle even that at that small dosage because their brains haven't fully developed. Hell, excuse me, y'all. Some adults can't handle their own medication. So you want me to give my child medication? Yeah, it may calm them down and make them a little more docile and zombie-like. Then they get accustomed to it a week or two later. And then they start to get over and above the medication dosage. And then now I got to go up with the medication.
Yeah.
No, my whole philosophy is the school and whoever deals with what I deal with when it comes to my kids. And that's how it was with the oldest. Because I do see some similarities where my oldest may have had autism as well, but a different level of it.
Because it's spectrum, right? And maybe the functional capacity might be different. Now, again, it's your choice. And I just want to say that even if you didn't go the medication route, what you're doing right now is still equally difficult because the time in therapy and all of those consistency, and you're even not just keeping your kid just in therapy. Even at home, you're teaching, you're doing so much more than most parents are able to, because your child has a different kind of needs. All that to say, whatever, if you listen to this, don't go say, oh, they said not to use meds. No. Make sure you're researching these things very well, and just don't go blindly and leave the child. Because with these kind of kids, the earlier you intervene, the better. Some kids might do better on some meds and behavioral therapy. Some kids might do better with just behavioral therapy. But make sure you're exposed to a bevy of options, and then make your informed decision as you go along. And,
above all, know your kid.
Know your kid, yeah. Now, speaking of knowing your kid, I know recently, earlier this year, you put on your Facebook page, Jesse on reading.
Oh, yeah.
Now tell us about I know you've had some really bad experiences with some schools where the report they would give about him wasn't consistent, back home. We do know, even as a healthcare provider, when it comes to diagnosing kids or labeling them, the behavior they are reporting has to be consistent at home and in school. But if it's I'm sensing some form of despite when it comes to Black children and how they are perceived in some institutions. But drawing from your examples, are you able to, expand on that?
When it comes to Jason and Black children in general, especially Black males, The biggest thing is, how can I say it? The behaviors that Jason exhibit in school, I don't get it at home. Therapy doesn't get it.
And those are 2 places.
So it's
3.
not a 360 circle. The behaviors that he does in school, when I start to see it at home, I ask therapy, hey, you noticing this? And then we're looking like, he get it from y'all. And the problem is with the education system, and I'm sure it's not all schools and not the whole entire education system. You know you see it. Let me know you see it. Because at the end of the day, I'm here to help you, not take over your classroom. No, well, I don't want to do that. He's in 2nd grade. I don't want to deal with him. But I'm here to help you to tailor him down, as well as the ABA, because he does learn a little bit differently. But the more you allow behaviors, or my famous word where I tell them, habits, the more you allow these habits, they start to become an issue.
I see.
And I know the habits that you have allowed because he's a typical kid.
He's going to take advantage.
He's going to try me. And it's like, hold up. Wait a minute. Wrong person. Hold on, Tonto. No. And Jason, my child is speech delayed. And there are sometimes that he will use his full sentences. For some reason, he does like to try and murmur, and that's because it's a habit that they've allowed. And I'm like, I don't understand you. Speak English. Well, copy me. You're not saying a word for me to copy you. So I talked to him. I may talk to him like he's 13, but I talked to him like he's a normal kid. I'm not gonna, Jason, no
baby talk.
No, I need you to talk. But when it comes to your child, especially if they're in an IEP or 504, please do not be afraid to get a 504 plan if you don't want to do an IEP, because you know your kid. And if there's an area that you want to help your kid in to succeed, 504 plans are the way to go, not necessarily an IEP.
So let's talk about the differences. So IEP is the individualized education plan. What's the 504, and why is one incrementally better than the other one?
504 plans are in place to where, yes, your kid can still talk and perform, but they may have some little anxiety. Little Johnny may need to be in privatized for a certain area for a certain period of time. So you can implement that. So 504, if your child is hurt, you can get a 504 for that. So 504 goes straight to OCR. So it's a little bit different.
All these numbers are dropping like a gangster. It's a 504, like highway, cross through the 504 to the OCR, and then, to the IEP, OPP.
Right.
Yeah.
OCR. IEPs you can, but the difference between an IEP and a 504, IEP is a binding contract. Both of them are binding contracts, but my IEP allows me to access more services for Jason than a 504 does. So if you feel your child needs more services, you got to move on over to the IEP for the 504.
So able to do it. Now, even the reading. So thank you for that. I think what I'm drawing from that last bit you just shared was learn how to advocate for our children, right? And that comes from a place of knowledge. Even when the world is telling you, do this, but at the back of your mind, like the deepest part of your soul as a parent, like, no, this is the way we're going to go. You might look foolish at times, but just keep pressing on, because nobody knows your child better. No offense to healthcare providers, but they only see this child for an hour in a month, and they're supposed to form all this wide opinion, but you constantly with that child. So bring your knowledge, your wealth of knowledge, and if you have a provider that is not listening to you, go find somebody else. Now, I'm not saying parents are always right or physicians are always wrong, but again, you want someone that, think of it like a team working. If your healthcare provider is not making you feel like your voice matters as a parent, then you need to find somebody else. That's one thing I have learned as well. Let's talk about some of the tools you do. You're so busy, between your work and your life and all of that.
Didn't you just say that I brushed you off in the beginning of this podcast? But now you're going to say I'm busy.
No, so I'm just saying that you're busy as far as just, life. Where do you find the time, and what are some resources you use to help your son Because I know you've done it, to be able to teach your son how to read.
A lot of it is just research in 15 minutes a day with the child. It doesn't take, you don't need to sit with the child for 30 minutes. You don't need to sit with the child for an hour. 15 minutes a day. Really, it's just 15 minutes a day. And I try and get every free
But
program
that can be a lot
there.
with a child like that.
Well, with Jason, in 30 minutes, I could get 5 activities done with him. I can have him reading a small book, whether he's read it before and don't feel like reading it all the time.
They get bored easily.
And these are small level books that are like 12 pages. So I'm not saying my son is fully reading, but he is reading and identifying his sight words. Which, did I email them to you?
Yeah. No, Dorian, what do you call his name?
Fries. Doach.
You should email them to me. We Googled it together, but.
I do adding with him. I do subtracting. So then I got his dad involved. When I'm tired, Dad takes over. Right now, since I've been in Utah, Dad and my mom. I'm like, Mom, make sure he read a book. He's like, he reading, which I know he hasn't.
Does he enjoy reading?
No.
What are some things he likes to do? I know he likes to paint.
He likes to paint.
And he's so good at it, guys.
Jason likes to run.
And swim.
Surfing? I need to get him back into swimming and surfing.
Surfing or something?
Need to get him back into surfing. That is actually occupational therapy. So the lady who does the surfing, she's an OT specialist.
Occupational therapist,
And so a lot of stuff that I have Jason do behind the scenes, it's the therapy session.
Yeah.
He was doing gymnastics for a while. Now I think I'm going to find baseball when I get back. Put him in baseball for a while.
Wow.
Because he likes to play baseball.
This is exposing him to so many things. So that way he's well-rounded. Man, I should just say, I think it's one of the good things about being in a developed country. Because countries like Nigeria, where we're developing, a lot of these things, if you don't have a lot of income, because we don't have social support to like fall under, like all this. Because I imagine that with Jason, you get a lot of support as well, right?
Money?
No, I mean like the IEPs and all that. You don't have to pay out of pocket for those things.
No.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Like, the government steps in, even though you might have your out of pocket pay. In Nigeria, we have no government stepping in on anything. Yes, everything is out of pocket for the most part. 90% out of pocket. Everything, every assessment out of pocket. Every treatment out of pocket. Anything you're doing out of pocket.
Well, I paid for speech. That's girl, even though he get it in school.
Whatever you're paying here, it's nothing. So imagine paying for everything by yourself. And people leave like what? $50 a month, $50 to $100 a month, like salary. So that's not enough. So there's a lot of work to be done. But I know that even in resource cash countries like that, parents are so innovative, and looking at some resources around the house, like punch cards, like show a kid how to tie. Because I brought someone on the show a while ago who works with kids, parents from countries like mine, to equip them. Like, you don't have to go to the fancy hospitals. What are the resources around your house that you can use to equip your child? And I think as parents, we already have that passion and bias for our children. And I'm hoping that fire will, carry them through. So for parents who might be doing...
You just raised a good point, because one of the things that I get a lot from people, well, Nydia, you're an educator. It doesn't matter if I'm an educator or not. Still read and advocate for your kid. You don't have to be an educator. Read, and whatever you don't agree with, make the changes. You have a voice at the table. Here you're doing IEPs and 504s.
Yeah.
But
I'd like to even ask something. I don't want to say, like raising Jason is like extremely hard. Like, I think raising a child is a lot.
No, I would say it for you. Raising Jason has been extremely hard.
All right, I'll let you say that in your words. I just want to say that.
Because I know too. Well, it doesn't hurt me because I've raised a child regular, atypical, and I've raised a child that's neurodiverse. So my neurodiverse child is harder, and it's harder because I'm trying to make sure that, education-wise, he is savvy. Behavior-wise, he is savvy because, I mean, the truth and the honest is he's African-American. Any little thing that he does, I told you, look, it's always an issue versus you have an atypical kid over here that's doing the same thing and my kid gets blamed more.
Don't you just hate that when that happens?
So,
like, they can excuse one behavior versus, a child that is neurodivergent.
But I mean, it's
what it is.
I came to the point. It is what it is. But I will advocate for my son all day, every day. So it doesn't hurt me to say that.
Yeah, it's what it is.
I got the older one, and I got the younger. I've been in both worlds, and I praise any and all parents that have a special needs kid because it is a tough job, especially when you want to find time for yourself. We don't have time.
We don't have it.
We have time when they go to sleep.
If you can put them to sleep, that is.
Yep.
What would you say was the hardest time for you, just parenting wise, and how were you able to overcome it?
Both.
Anyone.
Honestly, trying to be an adult. Trying to be an adult and feel like I don't have kids. Like I said, I came from a kid myself to raising kids. So I don't know what it's like not to have kids. And I won't know, JC, I'm 7. So we have 11 years. I won't know until like month 60 what it's like not to have a kid. And let's pray neither one of them have a grandkid 4. But right now,
you're not ready?
Does not have a
grandchild. You're not ready yet?
It's not that I'm not ready. I thank God that he's not having a kid at 24 because he's not sufficient himself.
I see.
And I'm not discouraging anybody that's grandma early, but let's be honest. I didn't want my kid to have my life. I needed some generational break right there.
Yeah.
And he broke it. He's 24, no kids.
Thank God.
So we're good.
Thank God for that. You live in Florida.
Unfortunately.
Why?
I'm born and raised.
It's such a state that, I mean, it's diverse, but it's such a politically contentious state.
Right now we are.
And even raising kids, black kids there. What are some concerns you've had, especially about your older son? Because, he's not really in the house, per se, I imagine. He's probably out there, working and all that. Unlike Jason, where he's still underage, you're with him constantly. Are there some fears you have as a mom?
Oh, Lordy. You want to bring out everything that you haven't known about.
It's been a year.
No, I didn't even tell you last year. Okay, so my oldest is a 3-time felon.
What?
Yep. He's actually on probation right now, but my oldest also is graduating from college with his degree in finance in December.
Was it like a false accusation or?
Nope.
He did a crime?
Yep.
Oh, good God.
So, it was when the first one was when JCM was born. I helped him out with the first one. Told him, it's like, I'm not helping you out with anything else. Not gonna do it. I guess he thought I was playing. 30 days later, he got in trouble again. So I just look.
And he was on probation then?
Yes.
And if you're in probation, you shouldn't do.
I didn't help him. No, he was off probation.
Okay.
30 days, got back on it. The finger didn't do nothing. So then a year and a half later, this one right here, I guess it clicked in him a little bit because he was looking at 40 years.
What?
Kids. That's all I can say is kids. I would say never think that that's not going to be my child because it can. So do not, that's what I tell people, try not to raise your kid with biasness when you hear about other people and what they've gone through with their kids. Because it could very well be you. That's right, because I never in a million years would I see it. But I can't say with this last one because he's off probation next year, but he's trying to get off early. He's actually doing a hell of a lot better.
Okay.
I've had, one of my friends reach out on Facebook to try and find him a job, and Black people, we are the harshest people ever, to where it really makes me not even like my own race with some of the stuff that we say.
Yeah.
But, they're like, oh, you're joking, right? Oh, you're kidding me, right? First of all, and I had to go on. First of all, this kid right here that you guys talk about, that's my son. Only I can talk about my son and demean my son. Number 2, this kid will be graduated from USF with a degree in finance. So his beginning is not his ending. And understand that a lot of you on this thread that are laughing and playing, how your life looking? How has your life been? Because we all have gone through our own trials and tribulations to get where we are. And he has gone through his. And I would say I'm proud of him right now for him to finish and to say, summer, who the heck takes 4 classes in the summer? But my kid, he's like, Mom, no, I got 8 more classes. I'm taking 4. I'm trying to finish. Okay, well, let me back up. Let you do your thing. And he's working full time. So with him, it was, trying to raise, you said the toughest part with both, trying to raise my child to be a man and to understand what it means to be self-sufficient, and also trying to raise a little one. Oh, Lord, I thought I was bipolar at that time.
And there's a huge chasm between just their age gaps and their experiences and their needs and even the level of control you have, because you cannot even control either of them. How much more the older one, right? Thanks for, I didn't know that about your kid. I didn't even know that about you. I imagine it's been tough times for,
I don't look like what I went through.
Thank God for that. Here's wishing him all the best, and congrats to you guys in advance.
Thanks. I'm telling you, when you see that US stuff, don't judge me, because I'm just go wild out, because I'm like, thank you, Lord Jesus. He made us.
It's out of stuff.
We are done.
Yeah.
We're at the end.
So we're winding down now. I just had 2 big questions to you. So let's talk about just even how we met. I met you last year, and so for context, we are in Utah right now, Salt Lake City, at the time of this recording. We're grading for advanced placement research. We're readers, and this is through the College Board. And what happens is that some students in high school in the U.S. and also some other countries around the world, they take advanced, almost like they can earn credit for college, and they have different topics, research, literature, government, chemistry. She used to grade calculus, then she moved over to research. And they put you on the table where you all grade papers, and, So I remember you sat maybe 2 chairs away from me.
I sat next to you.
Were you next to me?
Chairs.
Were you next to me?
Right next to you.
Okay, anyways, she sat next to me. And I mean, I had to talk to you because you're the other Black person on the table. But I just remember this, and I'm going to ask you as well this of it. This was my first impression of you. Oh my gosh, she's so aloof. Like, she's just like, don't talk to me. You had that face of, do not come near me, do not talk to me. But then you wrote something on a sticky note, and then you passed it to me.
Yeah.
Oh, you used to write a lot of funny stuff. And I'm like, they're going to kick us out of here. And then she's so cute. She's my person. And then we started talking, and I realized, oh my gosh, all of that exterior, it's just a fluffy little teddy bear, But what was your first impression? I won't take that part out. Maybe if you pay me enough for my ticket. What was your first impression about me?
Tyrone.
Oh, why you bringing Tyrone?
Because she is extremely junky around her little desk and area. Y'all do not understand. She is slow as molasses on a hot day. And I'm just like, Mom. And then last year I was like, how does she eat this food and not get sick?
Okay, for context, they feed us breakfast, we get a snack, we get lunch, we get a snack break, and then we get dinner. The food was crappy. I didn't know how bad it was until I came this year. I think it was just the novelty of it for me. It was just the novelty of it. And
I had cash last year, just like I got it this year, because I didn't eat this food.
But then hold on. Salt Lake City is not necessarily known for its bevy of options when it comes to food. At ordered Indian food, it was crappy. Thai food was crappy. I should take that part out.
Not really, but they need to hear it.
The food isn't good here. Let's just say it.
It's not.
It's not good here. So I'm like, why should I throw money down the drain for food that's going to taste exactly the same way? But man, I learned the hard way. So yeah.
But my first impression of Mo, she is the most lovable person to know. And she's right. I do have that facade.
Yeah.
Not a loose facade. I have that facade, but I'm very keen and aware of all my surroundings. I want to be honest. I'm very keen and aware.
Very smart too. Yeah.
But I think we're all, because at the end of the day, I am an introvert. And if I trust you and our auras match, I become an extrovert. So the part of me she met is the introvert part of me. And if I'm around somebody and I'm looking a certain way, my aura's not kicking. It's not firing up.
It's not given.
It has to get to know you a little more just to see if, okay, because one of the things that I do like that I have is discernment, because, and I am still cordial to people.
Oh, no. I know.
But with Mo, yeah, she's a lovable person. You know, between her, Cicely, and Jasmine, we all met each other.
Yeah.
I can't say she's doing more walking this year than she was last year, because she would not walk with us.
Last year?
You didn't walk with
us. I had Ari and Tyrell.
No, before they came.
Oh. Where were you guys going?
We were just walking to the hotel.
Because I was chunky a bit. I've lost a lot of weight since then, so I'm able to walk around more now. And
here I am breathing hard in this elevation, because my below sea level Floridian tail
Same here.
I'm not used to this.
I have a special kind of anemia. This high altitude kind of gets me out of breath, but I've learned to pace myself.
But I do appreciate Mo, because, to be honest, can I be candid tonight?
Sure.
Sometimes there's a discrepancy in, you know, that what do you call it? That perceived notion between Africans and Black Americans, how it's not
Let's
really
talk about that.
The same.
Let's talk about that. Why is that?
Because what I've realized, and I'm not gonna lie, you talked about your background and how you guys had to pay for everything. And over here, Black Americans were not accustomed to that. It's like kind of handed. So it's kind of like, well, you guys take advantage of stuff. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes we do. We do. But when it comes to, and correct me if I'm wrong, socioeconomic status, and when you see, okay, well, this Black person is not like this person. And then I'm like, well, Mo is not like them. I'm like, she cool. She cool people. You know, and I had to tell a little secret what we did for her last year. Because she didn't have, her husband didn't have to do what they did for all of us. You know, so, you know, you kind of got to return that favor. So when somebody blesses you, you bless them back. And that's kind of what happened last year.
And I think that, so this is just my observation. I feel like when we don't get to meet people closely and find out where they are, we just keep buying the narrative. Because we've been sold a love lie on both ends. Like, I grew up, and I've said this many times on the podcast, whenever I watch American imported movies, the Black person was like the thug, you know, sagging their pants, going to prison, doing all the bad stuff. It wasn't until Wesley Snipes' Blade came out that I saw a Black person as the hero of a movie. So, and then the whole baby mama thing, that was all. Imagine being fed that like 247 baby mamas, and
like
you know,
calibration paper too.
And then you guys, you see Africa with the little kid with a big stomach and flies and, you know, booty scratcher. So they were playing us on both ends. Exactly, everywhere. And then when you come here, you're like, ooh, you know, it's the baby mama. But then you get to meet people and you realize that, man, we're all similar, you know? Yeah. Of course, people are bad. People have some bad sides to them. They have good sides to them. Regardless of where you're from, you know, you have good people and bad people everywhere. It's just the way the world works. But to write off a whole group of people based on a single narrative told by people that you cannot even trust, come on now. Yeah. You know, and I imagine that people are missing out on a lot of friendship, because last year when we kept in touch, which I was surprised about.
Well,
we probably talk like at least once a month, you know, texting and all that. And then whenever
when you put pictures up, I'm like, I don't want to look at y'all.
She's Ari. You know, it was because of you that I started posting her more, because you would always ask, where's Ari? And I'm very careful. I don't like, you know, embarrassing because when I talk about her, I never talk about her in an embarrassing way. But I don't want to say so much about her that people get to know her more than she's ready to show herself. You know what I mean?
You just do little excerpts here and there.
Like, I know you, because like, where's Ari's picture? I'm like, I don't want to share her picture. This is me in Taiwan's face.
No,
you know.
I got tired of looking at
but the idea is Team Ari, and that's so cute to see. But all that to say that when we knew that we are gonna come back this year, we just realized, okay, I'm gonna stay with her. We're gonna be roommates, and it wasn't like a big, decision for me. I was like, I get along with this person. She's cool. I like her vibe. And let me just say this: you're a very good roommate to have.
Actually, she said that now, but she told me I need to go and have a study done.
Oh, just kidding. No, this is what I meant by that. No, you're really cool because you go to bed so early and I stay up late. You don't wake up. I'm always very careful, We're similar, like, we keep our spaces clean. I'm not like bothered about someone smothering me at night or, taking, like, even when we went shopping, like, it's just it's so convenient, being around you is what I'm saying. And it's so, there's an ease you carry around you.
And it's no offense to the K-12. With your collegiality. Our way of thinking and doing stuff is very different than K-12.
Yeah.
Very different. I'm like, I know you got to work. I'm supposed to be working.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so chill, and, so all of that to say thank you. Thanks for just doing this, and it's really been, I know there's so much to your story. We've barely even scratched the surface, right? But I think hearing your story and even knowing a bit more about you, I'm very encouraged. And I imagine people that might be listening to this, if there's anything I've learned from you today is don't stop, just keep moving. Even when things don't make sense, right? And you can sit down now and talk about, 17 years ago. But I imagine when you were in the thick of things, it was like, my goodness, what is going on? This is so much. I just want to escape. But now you can sit down and be like, you know what? I can piece the stories together. This is my story. I'm owning it. I've done more with it. So, and I really hope that this encourages those that might be listening that it's never too late to live your dream. She's always still talking about going back to school and getting more degrees and applying for another position. The hustler life never ends.
I rest when I'm in vacation mode, and I can travel like you can travel.
Yeah. So if Jason or Jamil ever get to listen to this, if you wanted to say something to them, or even your boo,
Jason is not gonna watch it. He is not gonna watch this, but I am gonna have him watch this because I already gave him his little shine.
There you go.
I gave him his little shine, and I gave Jamel his little shine. Jason, that's my little baby, even though he hung up on me.
They're like that. I have one at home. They're sometimes can be quite rude. Yeah.
My son's got to the point, if you start crying and yapping in his ear, he's Alexa off.
That's my new joke, by the way. Alexa off.
He's like, I don't hear it. Off.
That is so cute. They want to say something to Jason?
No. That's why I changed my flights. I can get home to my baby when he wakes up. And I'll be like, hey, handsome. Because that's my little handsome daddy, my little red man.
Yeah. What do you guys usually do on the weekend?
This weekend, I'm asleep. I don't have anything planned with him this weekend. I'll probably go somewhere Sunday.
Okay.
Probably take him to a bounce house or something. Because the following weekend, I'm like, I'm
You're traveling, yeah. It's Juneteenth weekend, yeah. Iris' birthday's coming around the corner, so that's exciting. I'm excited.
A fellow gym.
She's a fellow gym now, yeah. Do you know how they can switch on you guys?
We're not code switchers. We're actually the most realist sign, and we're actually a very neutral sign. People don't realize that.
You all switch.
No, we don't.
You just talked about your eye color changing into two colors.
We go on the aura. We feed off of you. So you come at us a certain way,
and then you give us twice.
Yes, we will. We'll make you regret it.
How is that normal?
That is normal.
With your eyes changing colors.
It's normal.
Oh, no, it's not.
It's just like, hold on. Don't bring that energy here.
Don't come for me if I don't send to you.
That's how we are. But we're like the most chill side.
But yeah, you're cute. Yeah, and I like that when you're with somebody, you're with them.
Yep.
You know, oh, because I will make you feel like you're like the number one in the world. But when you get on her side, she's like, don't wanna, but she's also very forgiving, you know.
Yep.
Once you apologize, you know, mommy's sorry, okay, and then she gives you a hug, and then you're like, okay, friends again. I guess, you know, it's not a bad sign out of all the signs. Not that I believe in signs, but my goodness, can you guys just stop switching so frequently?
We'll try.
That'd be nice.
We'll try.
Are there any final thoughts or things you might be curious to ask me? This is your time to like embarrass me, but be nice about it.
No.
I'm done asking you questions.
There's no need to embarrass you.
Oh, look at you.
Thank you for
Why are you being so kind,
Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Thanks for coming.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
This is the second one I've done.
Second one you've done? You've done on that podcast?
No, not alive. She made me record myself. This is not. We are live.
No, this is recorded. Yeah, like yeah. Wow, that must have been a lot of work.
No.
She sent you some questions. You just answered them.
She did, and she was like, "You, it's time for you to speak your truth."
I like her already. Can we be friends with her?
Yeah, she's a lawyer. Her oldest is autistic. So.
Oh, okay. Does she still have a podcast?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I should check it out. All right, guys. This was the episode with Nydia Nelson. We talked a lot about her life, growing up in Florida, her mom, her support system, being a twin, getting pregnant in high school, having her baby, and then going back, not even going back, she never stopped, but just, you know, getting to the next level. And there she is right now, so crazy about math and applying for a position where she does more admin work. She has 2 sons, the love of her life, and then one is neurodivergent. And all of the resources and the support, the challenges that comes with that, and just, you know, the overall perception between just some dynamics between Africans and African Americans. But all of that to just say, we hope that this episode was useful to you. You'll probably learn one thing or two. I think what I will be taking out of this is, you know, don't give up on your dreams. Even when there's a little bit of a detour, that could be your path, but then find how you can just keep going. And like she said, you know, excuses are like diarrhea, right? It's so easy to go on. There's only so much. But in any event, thanks for catching up on this episode of the Sibyl podcast. I remain your host, Sibyl. Bye for now, and love you guys. Bye. Bye. How do you feel?
I'm gonna have to see that one because I know you be posting stuff so quickly.
I will let you know. You ready for your monkey?
Nah, my arm hurt. I'm gonna go back and look at my criminal.
Careful with the wire.
So I told no.